Okay. All right, so here we go. Now I'm looking at this side here. I want about, I'm trying to, I'm just putting a wrench on here, a pair of pliers on here to try to keep everything out of the way. Okay, I'm just looking to see about how much wire do I need to strip back, or rather tin, because this is not going to be tinned. Okay, I want to tin about that much. It's going to do that. Just holding, all that's doing is holding back the insulation so that I can get to the wire. I'm not cutting the insulation here. Remember, you do not need to cut any insulation with this pushback wire. Okay. There, it's better. And what I like to do, I actually like to thread it. I actually like to thread it and solder it to here first. And that's only going to help me when I go to solder it there, because it's kind of gonna hold it in place for me just a little bit. Okay. Wrap it around just a little bit. Get a little bit of mechanical holding there. Oh, let me show you another cool little thing I have. It's called an orange wood stick. It's just a hard piece of wood, but electronics guys use them all the time for doing stuff like forming leads, or if you're looking for shorts or whatever, or intermittents, I'm sorry, you can tap on things like this and see if things cut out or start to work. It's just a non-conductive stick, but it works well for forming leads. And that's nicely formed. I'm just going to come around. Remember, form a solder bridge, touch to the work, put in some solder, and yeah, that looks like a good joint. I'm actually going to put a little more solder there. I may have to block your view again to see what I'm doing. So if I do, I apologize. There we go. Okay, that's soldered on there. And what's nice, it's really nice about once you have, and now I'm just going to push the insulation up just a little bit, which I pushed a little bit too hard. What's really nice about doing wiring like this, what's satisfying about it, is the more you finish on your project, the neater it gets. It just keeps getting neater and neater. Because the loose wires start going away, and it actually gets a little bit easier to work in here to some extent. Now you can see that I don't even need the third hand thing, because that's holding that in place. You see, that just makes it all the easier to solder. So here we go. Gonna heat it up, make a solder bridge. Oops, I want a little bit of solder bridge on the bottom too. Come from the back side, wait for it to melt. There we go. It's starting to melt and flow. There we go. To get just a little bit more on there. There we go. Okay, that's nice. You can see I don't have to have solder over the whole thing. It's not buried in solder, nothing like that. I just have a nice fillet along the bottom where everything's flowed out nicely on both sides. Okay, and that's a good joint. That's an excellent joint. That's a really good joint. Okay, now this is the bridge switch. The bridge switch has to go to the middle like that. And what I'm going to do on the bridge switch is I'm going to solder it on the front, try to stay away from that joint. And then obviously on this switch here, I'm going to do it on the back. Okay. Now, if one of these joints does pop, pop off. It's not going to be a big deal. That does happen sometimes. You know, what are you going to do? You can't do this perfectly. You can't be perfect. But we're going to try to see if we can do it without popping anything off. Okay, I want about that much wire. And again, I'm going to look at the amount of shield that I need to take back. And about that much. You may get some stray bits of wire in here. When we're done, we're going to shake it out, blow it out. I'm trying not to get too much in there, but you're sort of limited because there's only so far you can move all this wire around. You know, you can't. There we go. Strip some back. You can see as we get into this, I'm going to start moving faster and faster because we don't want this to literally take all day. And you're going to start getting bored if you're not already. I'm sure most of you already are bored. Sorry, but I didn't make you watch this. There we go. That's nice. And we're going to try to get it about where we want it. End it up with my orange wood stick. Cut off the excess. Oops, got my iron. Bend it over. Oops. Doesn't have to be mashed down. I'm just trying to get good contact. I'm going to take out the obvious little piece of wire there that fell. And I am going to use the third hand to hold this where, yeah, it's good, to hold this where I want it, so that when I eventually put it there, there's no stress on the joint that I'm making now. Or at least we're going to minimize the stress on the joint. There we go. That's nice. And I'm going to pull back the insulation just a little bit. Just want that out of my way as I do this. And tin. Make the solder bridge. Flow in the solder. And that's good. It's a good connection. Okay. Sometimes even with the third hand, it feels like you need a fourth or fifth hand. Oops. There we go. And you can see I'm taking some pains to try to keep them separated just a little bit, but I can't separate them too much because I have at least well, I have one more connection that needs to be made there. Actually, two more. So I need to be a little bit careful here that I don't run out of room. Okay. Here we go. I'm just tinning my iron, cleaning it, tinning it. Oh, this is awkward. Can you still see what I'm doing? I don't know if you can. Let me. You guys have no idea how awkward this is. All right, let me see if I can Okay, I think you're gonna be able to see. We're gonna try it. Okay, make bridge. Now here I'm gonna be really careful to get on and off as quickly as I can. There. There you have it. And nothing else melted, so I'm happy about that. Okay, again, that's nice and neat. It's a good joint. You can see what I'm doing too. I'm soldering from this side, and I can put my finger on it already because there's so much thermal mass here that as soon as you heat it up, it starts to suck it away. And as soon as you take the heat off, it cools down. So if you get it on and off nice and fast, you're not going to have any issues with neighboring joints. Where you're going to have an issue where you're going to damage pots and you're going to damage, especially if you have a push-pull switch. If you have an iron, it's counterintuitive, but the way you're going to cause heat damage is if you have an iron that can't put enough heat in, can't heat up this area that you're trying to solder hot enough, quickly enough. What's going to happen is eventually this entire pot is going to heat up to hundreds of degrees, because even though you're not dumping a lot of heat into that one point quickly enough to do the job that you need done, the total amount of energy, the total energy that you're dumping in is enormous. So for example, I could put this in a 400-degree oven all day long, and I'm not going to be able to solder anything. But eventually, all the plastic parts are going to melt, because I'm never going to get it hot enough to do anything useful, but I'm going to get the entire thing hot enough to start melting little plastic bits and things like that. So again, this is where having a good iron really comes into play. Now, if I did this with my JBC, this would take seconds. Even my Hacko, as good as it is, does not compete with the JBC, but it's good enough. It does a really good job. So remember that the key to preventing heat damage is have an iron that could dump a lot of heat into your part really fast. That's the key to preventing the heat damage. Okay. And like I said, as soon as I'm done soldering, I can put my fingers on it, because the total energy that I've put in here compared to the thermal mass of the pot is very small, very small. Now we have this guy. This, again, if you remember, that's my actual pickup. This is my bridge pickup. Bridge pickup. It's going to come something like this, and it has to go to that lug. Okay. So let's do it. Now I also need, let's plan ahead. I need to get a ground to over here somehow. So let's decide how we want to do it. Now what I could do that little trick that I showed you and just continue this braid all the way to there. I could do that. I don't know if I really like that idea. I mean, that's kind of what I did here to bring the ground there. I don't so much mind it there. I can't put into words right now why that feels different to me, but it does. In this case here, I'm not going to do it like that. It's going to be a separate wire. It is going to be a separate wire. Okay. And there's something else that we need to know. The wiring that we're going to do modern style wiring. So what that means, so make more sense when I finally make a video, or when you go out and do your own research on how the pots and tone pots and volume pots and things work. But what that means is the tone cap is going, the tone pot, the tone control, all of it, the cap in the pot, is going to come directly off the pickup. That's essentially what we're talking about. So that's going to come off this lug here. So I need to get something going from here to there at some point. So I'm not going to solder this in quite yet. We have a little more planning to do. Okay. The vintage wiring, it would come from the middle lug. So it's kind of coming from the voltage divider there. We're going to do modern style. That's how I like to do it. And, well, that's how we're going to do it. Okay? What I will probably do is I will use another piece of braided wire, in fact maybe this piece here, and I will use that to attach these two to each other, and then I will also use that wire to carry the signal. Okay? Let's see how that works out for us. Let's see how that works. Okay. So again, here we go. We're going to do the sacrilege. We're going to cut our pickup wire. Oh no! That's how we do it. That's how I do it. Going to strip back some of this excess shield so it can't short out against anything. And we don't have to take it all the way back, just back far enough that I can get cutters in there and just cut it off. Again, trying to keep all the little flakes out of here. And if you get one or two in there, it's not a big deal. Just blow it out later, or vacuum it out, or however it is you want to do it. Here we go. I did say I was going to start to speed up, right? I haven't quite done that, have I? What can I say? I talk a lot. What can I say? And I don't have a script. This is all just off the cuff. So you're sort of getting my random stream of consciousness here. Lucky you. Okay, I kind of like that. As I said before, I cannot quite solder that yet. I can't quite solder that on there yet. So I'm going to have to do that in a minute. And unfortunately, I think this time your view really is going to be blocked, and there's just not anything I can do about that, because this has to go where it has to go. It's just how it is. I apologize in advance. Let's see if we can. Now, this tool will fight you sometimes when you're in close quarters like this. Need a little more length there. And the thing is, the back is kind of all right. I'm gonna need to block you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Trying to see if I could do it without, but I can't. Okay. I kind of want to hold down the front too, and sometimes what you have to do is just get like a pair of pliers and just do that to hold stuff down where you need it. Okay, I'm going to solder. I'm going to put my solder joint right at the back portion there. This is sort of requires a little bit of good aim here. Okay, a little bit crowded. A little bit crowded. And what I'm going to do, because I do want to get on and off really quick, I'm going to crank my iron up to 750. So even though it does not need to be that hot, I'm going to overdrive this a little bit. Because speed is going to be of the essence here to keep from desoldering any of this other stuff. Okay, so I need to get a lot of heat in there really fast. This is one of those times when it's okay to crank your temperature up. Okay, there we go. Making a nice solder joint or a nice solder bridge. Flow from the back side. It's flowing out really well. and that's done. Okay? So you do have to be fast sometimes. All right? Okay. And that's good. That's perfect. That's perfect. Now we need to get another wire going from. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this for a minute because it's time for me to get some tone caps, and I have to go I have to go grab some caps. So we'll pause this. I'll go grab my caps, and we'll be right back. So you don't have to wait for me. All right. See you in a minute. Okay, so I'm back. I got my tone pots, just some cheapy 47 nanofarad pots that I have kicking around. You know, I changed my mind. I'm actually going to just use separate wires to do this, because I thought about it, and I thought it was going to be unless I'm just trying to keep it simpler for you guys, so that you have a better chance of success here. I don't want this to get too complex. So I'm just going to use standard pushback wire. I'm just going to use black for my ground, and I'll just use white for signal, I guess. No, you know, let's use black for the signal, and white for the ground, so that it matches the rest of these colors here. Okay, so let's get a ground wire on there. Here's my single conductor white pushback wire. Okay, I just cut off a length. I'm going to push it back. Now this stuff is tint. This stuff is pre-tint. So it's kind of cool. The braided stuff is not. This stuff is. I actually prefer it like that because when I'm working with the braided stuff, I'm bending it oftentimes, and I like having it not tinned because it's better for the wire. It's less stressful for the wire. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my little third hand guy here. Just sort of position him there. You may or may not be able to see that, but that's making really excellent contact with the pot. Okay. Tin my iron. I hope you can see it. Can you? Well, whether you can or can't, this is how we're going to have to do it. So there we go. Make my solder bridge. Blow in the solder, and voila, we have a good joint. This wire, when you're doing just a single wire, there's so much less thermal mass. It goes really fast. It takes very little little heat to solder it. There we go. Now, let's see. Maybe I can reposition some stuff so you can see. Well, just take my word for it. You've seen me do this a million times. You don't have to keep watching me do this. I'm going to cut my wire, push it back. Yeah, I think at this point you probably trust me that I'm not scamming you. I'm actually soldering this on here. There we go, making nice contact. Make my solder bridge. There we go. And there we go. Okay. Again, you can see it's not sitting in a puddle of wire, in a puddle of solder. It's just soldered. It's soldered on there. Now let's get our wire from there to there. Cut it probably just a touch longer than I need it. Let's it's always a little bit more difficult when you have multiple wires that need to go into the same lug. Make sure that I didn't cut it too short. No, that's good. Push it back. Make a little hook here. And just sort of hook it in there. Again, I apologize. I may have to block your view just a little bit here, so I can actually see what I'm doing myself. Okay, that's probably good enough. Fix this one up just a little bit more. Come on. This fly that's buzzing around my head that's driving me nuts. You hear it on the video. It's really driving me kind of bonkers. Oh, come on. Okay, so you can see even when you've done this, you know, zillions of times, there's still you can still get annoyed sometimes. Okay, there we go. Nice little hooks. Yeah, that's good. And we'll solder that on, and then we'll push all the wire back, and we'll make it nice and neat. So I'm just going to make my bridge. Low solder in there. And that's a good joint. Good happy joint. Yep, looks good. Bring this insulation back here. Really love this pushback stuff. Pushback stuff is great. Okay. Again, going to cut about the length that I need. Push it back, thread it in, make a little hook. You don't strictly have to make the little hook. I like doing it because, well, you should do it. If for no other reason that it really helps keep things in place while you're soldering. Okay, if you don't do it for any other reason than that, it's a good reason to do it. I think if you look in all the specs, it actually requires that there be some sort of mechanical attached, some you know it has to be mechanically well bonded before you solder. But hey, okay, now I have my little cap. What I want to do, I just kind of want to form the leads so that I can nestle that in there nice and neatly without shorting anything out. Okay, so I'm just gonna, again, nothing really fancy going on here. Okay, I kind of like it something like that. Stick it through. Okay, like that's really nice. Get my third hand. It's gonna, you know, what I could actually do. Let me just notice I didn't even bother to clip that lead short. You can if you want to. It's not really necessary. but if you feel like you want to, of course you could always do that. Ah. And of course, I'm talking about the lead on the ground side. Yeah, you know, in fact, we are. We'll just clip it. What the heck, making a movie here. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of set it like that. There. Okay. Making nice contact just about there. Sort of my hand is hitting something here. It's not letting me get where I want to go. I need to twist it a little bit on the stand. There. Okay. Yeah, you can't see it because it's out of the frame, but I was out of adjustment on the third hand thing. Okay, make my solder bridge. Flow in some solder. Nice solder joint. Now you have to let it cool down for a couple of seconds because you're putting a lot of heat into it. So sometimes this will get hot enough to keep that liquid longer than you might guess. Okay, this guy here, make a little hook. I know there are probably people out there yelling at me I should be using, some exotic capacitor. Hey, if you want to do that, go for it. I think you should do anything you want. Throw it in, done. Okay. Me, no, that's just not how I do it. Obviously, if a customer wanted that, I would do it. But most customers don't ask me for that. Okay, now we are really almost done. There's just a couple more minutes of work that we have to do here. We're going to have to do the same sort of deal on this pot here. And after that, we're going to be done. So let's just do it. Again, now remember here on so the bridge side's done. The bridge is done. Now remember here, this green and bear, they both go to ground. Let me tuck that out of the way for now. We'll deal with him in a minute. The green and the bear both go to ground. So I'm going to look at how I'm going to route this. What I'm probably going to do is do something like this, and then bring him over, and bring him over there like that. I could go underneath too. I don't think it really matters. That's probably what I'm going to do. I could have maybe done is brought this over a little bit more, and done this and kept it just a touch neater. I could go underneath if I really, no. Well, let's just go underneath. Yeah, we'll just route it underneath. Nah, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to do it like this. I'm just going to do it like that. That's gonna be fine. Yeah, it's gonna be just fine. So just bring it over like that, and that'll be just fine. So this is one instance here where I should have planned just an extra minute, thought about it just for an extra minute, and I didn't. So there's an opportunity here that I could have been just a little bit neater, and I lost that opportunity. But again, we can't be perfect. Not me. Maybe you are. I'm not. I just kind of do it the best I can. You know, and even now, I'm always trying to do it better this time than I did it last time. You know, next time I do this, maybe I'll think about that. I'll remember to think about that, but not this time. I'm going to look at it one more time, see if there's a way I can do that. Yeah, I could come underneath like that if I really wanted to, but I feel like that's going to put a little bit too much stress on the wire, so I'm just going to come across the top. That's fine. I have a wire that crosses. That's just not that big of a deal. But it could have been neater. Shame on me. Okay, here we go. I don't have a shocking sponge for this iron. I only have the brass shavings. It takes a little more work sometimes to get some of the oxidation off. Okay. Okay, again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to actually curve that just a little bit. Make it sort of fit the pot just a little bit better. Okay, that's good. Going to come in with my third hand. That is actually the name for this thing. That's not something that I made up. It's actually called a third hand. Here we go. It looks like that neck pickup is cut much shorter than it actually is. It's just that I've shoved some of the excess into the cavity. There we go. I've shoved a little bit of the excess into the cavity because I did leave it just slightly long. So, you know, if we need to make a change at some point, or change a pot and we need to strip it back a little bit more, we have a little bit of room to work. Remember, we have to get a wire going from here to there. We'll probably bring a ground on the back side this time, just because I have a little more room there. So let's do all of that. This is the signal. That's the signal. It's a very thin wire. Cut it about the length. Going to strip it. Twist before I finish pulling it off. Give it a little bit of tinning. Ta-da. Stick it in. And just bring it over. That'll hold it in place really nicely. Cut a piece of pushback. Going to put my little hook on the end. Hook it through. Smush it down very slightly just to hold it in place and solder it. You can see I'm always soldering on the opposite side of the iron. I'm always soldering on the opposite side of the iron. That basically makes it foolproof. It's practically impossible to get a cold joint because I know that the entire thing is heat. You know, I know that my solder isn't just touching the iron; that it's actually touching the work. Okay, makes it very hard to get a cold joint. Yeah, it's also generally just the right way of doing it. Okay. To cut this. Alright, I'm just going to shut up for a minute, because this video is going very long, and I'm just going to work. And we're doing exactly the same thing that we did the last time. We're just doing it on the neck. So, watch, enjoy, or fast forward, whatever floats your boat. Again, I'm not blowing to cool it down. I'm simply blowing to get the fumes out of my face, because I don't have my fume extractor going. That's good. Can see if you're not talking, if you're just working, this actually goes pretty quickly once you have an idea of what it is you wanna do. This whole job shouldn't take an hour, you know. There we go. Grab him in a minute. Oops. There. You guys doing? You still there? Hello? There we go. Oh, there you go. Again, not just blowing the solder fumes out of my face. This bridge ground, I'm just going to bring to the tone pot because it's convenient. I should technically bring it here, but that's kind of crowded. I could if I wanted to. But it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter that much. They left this really long. I'm not really sure why. This was left extremely long. Nice long lengths. And start to pull it off, give it a little twist, pull it off the rest of the way. Oops, that's a little dirty. It's better. Nice and tinned. And probably just don't even need to clamp it. Just hold it down like that. Just the weight is just resting on it. Let me bend that just a little bit better. There. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to space stuff out because at least as much as I can, because the tech's going to be in here one day, or I'm going to be in here one day. You know, there's. You could probably make some of this neater and line it up better, but what I'm trying to do more is get stuff spaced out and not soldered to each other, so that when you need to remove one wire, it's easy to remove one wire. I mean, you would think maybe that should be obvious, but I can't tell you how many times I see stuff just grouped to get together, and then it's impossible to get just one wire out. I'm going to do some scragglers here. I want to trim them off just a little bit neater. There we go. I've been looking at those for a half hour, and they're starting to annoy me. Just trim them off now. Everything out. Okay. So the last thing we have to do is our jack. Somewhere around here I have a jack. Nice switchcraft jack. Pretty simple. There's ground. There's your signal. It has to come, well, it has to come at least this far. What I'm going to do, I'll show you. This has to come at least this far out, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to route this wire, the jack wire, about where I want it, and I'm going to need some excess for the shield, and I'm going to cut it about flush with the end of the guitar. My experience is that'll give me just enough when this gets in place that I'll be able to bend this and route it properly. Okay. I'm confident enough in that. I'm not even really going to remeasure it or anything. To do the jack, pretty simple. How do I want to? What's the best way to do it so I can show you? Yeah, we'll just do it like this. Okay. So again, the shield has to come here, and the signal has to go there, and we kind of want it so that it's going into it like this, so that we're not putting a lot. See, if I come in like this, when I go and put this in here, there's going to be an enormous amount of stress on this wire that I don't want. Okay, but I have to take back about this much of the shield. So let's do that. Same as you saw earlier in the video. Sort of separate it. Get a screwdriver in there. And take off the braid. And a couple of small strands might break. This is such a beefy wire, it really doesn't matter. It really, honest to God, does not matter. Is that enough? And just a little bit more. But try to do it so that it doesn't break. You know, I guess the point I'm making is try to be neat, but you don't have to sit there and, you know, detangle this as though, you know, you were taking braids out of somebody's hair. You know, just get it apart. Don't stress too much about it. Here we go. It's nice. Just gathering up the braids so they're not tangled up with each other. Hey, and that is, that's just about right. That's nice. There we go. Gonna tin it. Okay. Lovely pushback wire. I'm going to push it back. Remember now, this shielded one is not pre-tinned. We are going to tin it to get it out of there. It'll be easier. There we go. Don't have to tin a lot of it. A little bit will do. There we go, that's nice. Oh, one thing I want to do with this routing, I'm actually going to route it on the outside. I'll explain why in a second. It's just because I wanna make sure that when it's in there, this can't short with that. Would probably be okay anyway, but we'll just make it even a little bit more secure. Okay. Stick a little bit of solder on here. I'm rushing just a little bit here now because we have to get this done. There we go. Okay, it's a nice joint. Get this. Bring this guy through. You can wrap them around, you don't have to, but like I've been saying the whole time, just makes it good practice, and it makes everything else easier. Makes it easier because nothing moves when you're soldering it. It may look like the insulation is sitting in the joint right now because that's kind of what I can see from the camera view, but it's actually not. There we go. And that is pretty much done. So I'm going to let's shut down. Let me get set up. Let me gather up some tools. Let's put it back together, and we'll give it a quick test. Okay, so here we are. the final last step. Let's just put it all back together. And that's really it. I mean, assuming that we did everything right. Now, again, I'm not perfect. It's possible that I made a mistake here somewhere. If we did, we'll discover it together, and we'll debug it together. You never know what I'm capable of. I'm capable of making mistakes. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this back in, and I'm going to tell you right now that this can and will fight you sometimes. Oh, that time it went right in. Okay, that's good. Sometimes what will happen is it'll just fight you the whole way. I have this wonderful gripper tool again. This is a nice StuMac tool. If it was fighting you, I anticipated that it would fight me. It didn't, but if it did, you could just stick that tool in. Oops. Stick it in. Well, I can't show you because it's not fighting me. Stick it in, lock it in place, and you can pull it out. This time it just went in very, very nicely. This tool is great when you need to tighten these things up, especially in a hollow body or a semi-hollow where you can't get to the backside and you need to hold it. It comes with a little driver and stuff. You can hold it in place and tighten it up. It's a brilliant tool. Didn't have to use it here. Oh, first, I want to shut down my soldering iron. What I do before I shut them down, clean them off really nicely, put a big glob of solder on it, and then I shut it down. That glob of solder will look ugly when I go back the next time to look at it, but it's protecting the metal on the iron. Okay. Then we will just get our thingamabobber there, our nut, and our washer. Of course, you're going to have to hold the inside and keep it from rotating, which again can fight you sometimes. They can definitely fight you sometimes. Whoops. Again, when you do it, you're not going. You can't even see what I'm doing. Again, when you do it, try not to be in an awkward angle like I am. Try to do it in a way that that you're comfortable. There we go. See that's twisting on me. And a lot of times it's really hard to keep it from doing that, especially in a guitar like this, where it's hard to get your fingers on it. You can put a locking washer on the inside, and that does work well. Sometimes you don't have the room for it. That's a 1/2 inch. But we are going to get to use this StuMac tool after all. Works really, really well. You put the put that guy there. Put this there, so now you can turn it, and this goes right through the middle, goes into the jack, and you lock it in place. Now that it's locked in place, see, so this is cammed, and now this is holding the jack in place while I tighten it up. Ta-da! I love this tool. This tool is great. Something else you want to watch out for is sometimes you get into a situation where on the inside here, you don't have enough room for the plug to go in because of how it's oriented. So I like to just come in, just test it. Okay, test it. You can look inside, make sure nothing is shorting out. Nothing is shorting out. Everything is routed well. Now you see, it looks like when I was doing it that I left a lot of excess cable here going to this, but I did not. It's just the right amount. Just the right amount. Could have even left a little bit more, would have been fine. Let's get our covers back on. Gotta get my fingers on them here. Okay, well that's good. We're going to be brave and just assume we did it all right. And just box it back up. Now we're going to go test it too. You may hear some hum. It really has nothing to do with the pickups or the wiring or anything else. My shop is particularly noisy. It always has been. I'm not really sure why, but it has something to do with my environment here. So even otherwise normally whisper quiet guitars and pedals and amps and things make a little bit of excess noise in my shop. There we go. Remember, that was one of the holes that was stripped there. This were a customer guitar. I might try to repair, or the screw that was stripped. This were a customer guitar. I might try to repair that hole because it's going in a kind of an odd angle, but actually it's not terrible. Oh no, it is. I mean, it's pretty. Yes. I would have done it better. And now I need an extra screw. I'm going to whip out a Schaller kit. See if we can find something that's kind of similar. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I have more of these kicking around somewhere if I really can't find anything that's appropriate. Yeah, it looks about right. It's a little small. It's a little on the small side. Let's see, do I have anything else that's a little more appropriate? This one might be a little on the big side. Yeah, it's a little on the big side. So, you can get an exact one. If this smaller one fits, we're just going to go with it because it's really just holding on a cover. Doesn't really matter that much. Yeah, that fits well enough. And I'm not going to worry about it again on a customer guitar. I would not send it back like that. I would endeavor to get an appropriate screw to replace the stripped one. Unless the customer just said, you know what, I really don't care. Just give it back to me so I can play it. And there we are. One thing you can do, I have this polish that I kind of like. Not really a polish. It's just kind of a decent cleaner. Made by Justcar. Kind of nice. I just like to get some of this crud off. You know, it's got like fingerprints and stuff on it. Yes, they call it a polish, but it's really more of a cleaner. And it does kind of. It's almost like a swirl remover where it sort of fills in some of the scratches, so you get kind of a deeper. Not the big scratches, of course, but some of the smaller scratches, so you get kind of a deeper shine. I just want to get some of this crud off. You know, anytime I work on a guitar, even my own guitars, you know, I don't clean them too much. But if I have it, I'm working on it, I'll take some of the crud off, and I'll do the same on the front. Just make it look nicer. And it makes it feel nicer too, because it doesn't have all that sticky stuff on it from years of handling and dirt. And there you have it. Okay, I'm going to get it set up. I'm going to bring it into the other room, and let's plug it in and see. I don't think I'm going to string it up, because I want to show you how to test this thing before you string it up. Why waste all that time if you just need to take it apart again? Right back. So how do we test this thing now? So I don't have any strings on it. What I'm going to do, I just have a screwdriver here. I have it set to the neck pickup, and what I'm going to do is tap it. See? The neck pickup's working. Bring the volume down. Volume works. Now the tone, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear it through here very well, but let's see. Tone. So you got bassier, brighter, bassier. And we're going to turn the bridge pickup on and make sure that that's not working. That shouldn't be working now. Now let's turn it to the middle. Both pickups should be working. Go to the bridge position. Bass pickup should be off. Bridge pickup, or the neck pickup should be off. Bridge pickup is on. Bring down the volume knob. Comes down. Back up. Bring down the tone knob. There you go. And there you go. We're going to string this up. I think we'll maybe do that in the next video, because you guys want to see how to do a setup, right? And we're going to have to do a setup on this again, because I've lowered all of these down. So in the next video, we're going to do a setup. But this was a successful wiring job, and what can I say? You know? Thank you very much for watching. This is John from J. Colocha Guitars. Subscribe. Check out our website, www.jcolochaguitars.com. Check out our Facebook page. And thanks again for watching. See you soon.